What we're going to do today, we're talking about a couple things. Let's go ahead and check out the notes. So we're talking about routing, inserts, and sends, and we're also going to talk about plugins and audio suite stuff. And what I want to do is I want to first start off with a little review about Elastic Audio from what we did yesterday. And I'm going to do that using the homework from yesterday. So we're going to do that using this Sharp Hand Joe exercise. And what I did was I just opened up the Sharp Hand Joe exercise, how it is when you download it. So if you haven't done this yet, you can watch me do it. If you already do it, I only got a submission from Austin. High five, Austin. You got 105 for that, for turning it in, one of the first 3 people. What we're going to do is I'm just going to basically start from the beginning and kind of do the Elastic Audio part. And then from there, we're going to go into doing the plugins, the routing and all that stuff, because we could do everything with this one session. So this is a really good session for doing all this stuff. So first things first, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to shift my grid so the grid makes more sense. Right now, this grid is set for samples, and samples is great if you're actually just moving audio around really like in small amounts. But I don't want it to be set for samples right now. I want it to be actually set for bars and beats. So we're going to set this for bars and beats. And I'm going to set it to 1/8 notes right there. Again, I've said this before, but if you don't really know your music theory for rhythms and stuff like that, you need to make sure you kind of learn it as much as you can, because all of these programs use music theory for the most part. Ableton Live is a little bit different, but Pro Tools, Logic, FL Studio maybe, I don't know. Cubase definitely. So what I'm going to do next is I'm just going to go in here and we're just going to take a listen to this real quick. Before we do anything else, we're going to take a listen to it. And actually, you know what? Before I do that, I'm going to make some groups. We're going to put the click track up top, and I'm going to make a group out of all the drums here. So I just have things to work with here. And the way I do that is I highlight everything. I click on the first one here and I hold down Shift and I click the second one and I hit Command G. And Command G is going to create a Pro Tools mix group out of this stuff. I'm just going to call this one drums. Drums, if I can spell correctly. I'm just going to make sure everything that I want to have in the group is in the group. It looks like it is. Yes, good. Attributes, I don't need any of that stuff. Global stuff, all this stuff is good. Yes, awesome. Excellent. And I'm going to give this an ID of D for drums. D for drums. We're going to talk about why I'm doing it like this later on. And we're going to talk about groups in more detail a little bit later. But for now, this is pretty good. I'm going to enable my input monitoring down here and my record enable so I can record everything at the same time if I want to. Today, I'm not going to be, but I'm just going to set that up. So now I've got everything set up here in my groups. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep these as my original. And I'm going to make a new group. I'm going to duplicate this, and it's going to duplicate all of them. And I'm going to go through and rename all of these -EA. Now, when I do that, I'm going to hit Command C to copy it. And I'm just going to go through to the next one of each one and put a -EA in every single one. And what I'm doing is I'm just copying and pasting. I'm just going over to the next track. And the way I'm doing the next track so quickly is I can see there's these next and previous buttons. Well, the shortcut for that is Command right arrow or left arrow. What is up, Ahmed? How you doing? Cool, cool, cool. All right, I'm still missing Dempsey, Decree, Shane Hubbard, and Jonathan Olivo. I don't have your names in here yet, so if you came in early and you put your name in way early, just put it in again. Puppers, stop barking. All right, so the way I do this is I can hit Command right arrow or left arrow, and it will scroll through my tracks. You can see that right there. I can scroll through my tracks using the command arrows up or down or left and right. I use left and right just because that's what I'm used to. But there we go. So I go to that one. I'm going to tab. I'm going to hit the right arrow, delete these, hit Command C to paste it in. And I'm just going to keep doing this. And you can see how quickly I can just go through. Oops, I don't need to do that one. There we go. How quickly I can actually put everything in and append the name of these things. Shane, what is up? Good to see you, man. All right, so now I've got 2 groups here, and I'm gonna go ahead and keep these grouped together. I've got two playlists. I've got the kick, the regular playlist. That's nothing. I'm gonna leave it alone so we can go back and mess with this later on if we need to. And I've got my other playlist here that is Elastic Audio, which I'm going to make all these tracks Elastic Audio. Okay, I'm gonna make them all, you can make them medium for now, it's fine, whatever, or large, yeah, do that. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit on my waveform, that's Command, Option, and brackets, or Control, Alt, brackets if you're on a Windows machine. I'm gonna zoom in using Command brackets or Control bracket. And then I'm gonna go down here and I'm gonna put in a rhythmic elastic audio for all of these. Okay, you notice I haven't even listened to anything yet because we don't like, I'm just getting things set up right now. I don't need to listen to anything when I'm just getting stuff set up. What is up, Decree? How you doing? Good morning, sir. All right, so we're still missing Dempsey and Jonathan Olivo. I'm sure they'll, Olivo, I predict he will poke his head in here any minute now, actually. And Dempsey, we'll see what happens. All right, so we're gonna go back here and I'm gonna hit go on this. And when we hit go, you're gonna hear the click track and you're gonna hear the drums play. And we're gonna just listen to these for a second. Oh, no, we're not. Hold on a second. Oh, no, you didn't. We are going to go in here and inserts and change this click track because that is a garbage sound. Much better. Oh, Jonathan, what's up? How you doing, man? All right, cool. We're just one student shy of a full house, which I love. All right, so notice this click track is a lot better than the other one that we just played. Here's what the other one sounded like, the default. I hate that click track, so I'm gonna come here. Much better. Okay, cool. So we're gonna listen to this click track and we're gonna listen to these drums and we're just gonna get a feel for what these drums sound like here. And if they're on rhythm, if they're off rhythm, something like that. So let's just go ahead and give this a listen. While we're listening to it, and we can hear how off they are, I'm gonna go ahead and give it a quick little mix. I just turned off my groups here. I'm gonna turn down my room here. Whoa. Oh. This drummer needs some help, right? Turn down my click track. I don't need that to be quite as loud. I can hear how bad it is without the click track being super loud. Okay, a change just happened there. Cool. I'm gonna put in a master track because we need that as well. Always have a master fader. And I'm gonna turn my master fader up just a little bit so we can hear things better. I wouldn't normally do this in real life. I would just turn my headphones up, but turning my headphones up doesn't do anything for you. I needed to actually turn up the master, so we'll come back and turn that down. There's another little thing that happened, triplets. Okay, so the rhythm, you can hear the timing is pretty bad for most of this. It sounds pretty off. But what we're noticing also, if you know something about music theory, all of the stuff that's being played is eighth notes. Nothing's faster than an eighth note. It's all 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and right? There's some cymbals, some ride cymbals. We'll come in and put that in a second. I'm just kind of following along with it. I'm doing this by hand because I always leave my follow off just because I don't love using follow, but that's just me. 1 and 2, still 8 notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. Bup, 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 bup. Yep, cool, some missing notes and stuff, whatever. I can't do anything about that. I mean, I could, but... Wow, is all I gotta say about that. Wow, right? So, just so you know, this was intentionally played poorly for you to do this assignment so you can go in and fix it and make it sound better. So, don't think that we had... I mean, if I was trying to play this, it would sound even worse and you wouldn't even be able to use it for this assignment. So, but it was intentionally played this poorly. So first of all, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go in and put in some markers here. Now the markers are something we're gonna talk about a little bit later, but just so you know, markers, you can go in by clicking where you wanna put the marker and see this little, where it says markers right here. That says markers, I can click the plus button and it'll give me a marker. I'm just gonna put the marker and put start, whatever. okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put markers where things are happening that are interesting to me. So I'm just going to go through, and I've done this a million times with this particular song in different classes, so I don't need to go through and listen to everything again. But I do know that over here in bar 12, I think 13 is some triplets. Okay, cool. So we can hear there's triplets there, and triplets is when you have 3 against 2 versus an eighth note, which is just 2. So I'm going to go ahead and put a marker here. I'm going to use my shortcut. The shortcut is the enter key, or if you're on a laptop, it's F-in and return if you're on a laptop. But if you have a numeric keypad, you can just use the enter key. My numeric keypad is right here, and I've got the enter key. Boop, I hit that, and it puts in another marker here, and we'll just call this one eighth. And this one is going to be triplets. I'm just going to call it trip, and then back over here, I'm just going to put one in back to eighth, like that, boom. These are still eighth notes. Okay, cool. And right here is a ride symbol. Put the ride in there. And if I skip ahead, oh wait, that's a hi-hat. Hold on, let's go back a little bit. There's the closed hat again. And I can actually put this in as I go. See, there's a triplet right there. Here, let's listen to that one more time. Yeah, okay, so I'm gonna put one here for eighth, and oops. And then the second half of the bar, yep, is triplets. Put triplet there, and then right here is back to eighth again. And I can actually make inserts of these markers as we play. Let me just show you what that looks like here. Let me go over here to where we start doing the, I don't think there's any more triplets. Hold on. Triplets, triplets, triplets. I don't think so. I think that's pretty much it. And over here, what's happening? Boom, boom, boom. Over here at the end, I don't think so. Yeah, that's all eighth notes. So let me just start that a little bit beforehand and show you how you can put this in as it goes. And you're really just going to hit that shortcut key as it's playing, and it'll put the marker in wherever you hit that shortcut key. Now for me, I have my grid turned on, and I have the grid set for eighth notes here. It's going to actually put it in on that grid that wherever I hit the enter key. So let me go ahead and hit play. And here we go. Here's 2 bars out. 2, 3, 4. One more bar. 2, 3, 4. Enter key. And there we go. And I can just put in ride. Now, whenever I hit return now, or I hit OK, it's going to actually put it where I had initially hit that enter key to insert the marker, okay? It doesn't put the marker where you name it. It puts the marker where you initially hit that enter key. So that's really useful there. All right, cool. So we got this, and we're going to talk about markers on another day. There's a lot more to do with markers that are really, really useful. But for today, it's not the focus of our lesson. There's our last one here. And in right there, out. Cool. And what I'm going to do is with all these tracks, I'm going to turn my let's see here. I'm going to turn my group back on, D. Oh, wait, hold on a second. No, not you. Make sure this is set up correctly. There we go, D. Oop, turn that grid back on. And right here where it says out, I'm going to go ahead and put a cut in there. There we go, cool. Sweet. All right, so we are pretty good to go. I'm just going to make a little change here where my clip, let's go to view, clip view. Make sure I got the name turned on for my clip view so I can see all the names. Now, I'm going to make sure for this next part that my groups are set up correctly, because this is really where we're starting to make big changes to things. So far, everything has just been really cosmetic, getting organized, getting set up, getting everything set how we want it to be. From this point forward, now we're actually going to be changing the audio. So first thing I'm going to do is go over here to these where I put my markers in. These markers are set up so they're set for when I'm going to make changes to things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a marker right here where it says eighth, and I'm going to hit Command E. It's going to cut all of the clips because I have my group turned on. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put another one over here where it says triplet, boom. and it's going to cut them all right there. And I'm going to put a third one here where it says 8th. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use my tab to transient. Remember we talked about that yesterday. And I'm going to hit tab, and it's going to move over to this kick drum because this kick drum is actually the downbeat, right? So I want the kick drum to be where I'm actually cutting things. Now, if I do it like that though, it's going to get, it's okay. We're going to do that. I'm going to show you a couple things to make sure we're moving things around properly. Okay. So I got this in here. Now what I'm going to do is we've got this thing separated. So this first part over here, I'm going to go ahead and put a cut in the very beginning as well to get rid of all that silence in the beginning. Well, actually, you know what? I'm not going to do. I'm going to straighten it out first. What we're going to do is we're going to use quantizing to straighten these drums out. And this is actually, because I've made these early changes to things, this is going to make my life so much easier. Austin, I know you already turned it in. I'd be interested in talking to you during Zoom about how you actually went about this process and see if what I'm about to do is going to be easier than what you did yesterday. So first things first, I'm going to open up my Quantize menu. It is Option or Alt on a Windows machine 0, Option 0, and that's going to pull up my Quantize menu here. And I'm going to set my Quantize to 8th notes because it's 8th notes. I counted it, I listened to it, I know everything is 8th notes, so I should set my Quantize grid to 8th notes. And then once I've done that, we have to make sure that, whoops, hold on a second, nope. Okay, make sure that our Elastic Audio is turned on for all the tracks. It is, we should be good to go. I'm gonna hit apply. And now when I do this, watch what's gonna happen here. I'm gonna just zoom in on this so you can watch this. You're gonna see these drum hits move around. Watch. Boop. Did you see them? Did you see that? Let me do it again in slow motion. You're going to see these drum hits move around. Did you see that? Cool. Okay. So what just happened was that my Quantize here locked everything into 8th notes. Now let's go back and listen to this again. Hear how good that sounds? It sounds perfect now. Everything is like right on time. Awesome. Awesome. Everything sounds really, really good. There's a few little minor, like kind of glitchy sounds in there, and we can go and fix those in a little bit if we want to make it perfect. But that's all you got to do. Really, what you got to do is you just got to divide all these tracks up by 8th notes, 16th notes, so you've got the right timing for the quantizing, and then just quantize them. That's as easy as it is. So I can actually, once I know that and I've done that, I can actually do this whole thing in about 5 minutes from now. I'm going to go slower, less than 5 minutes, actually, probably 2 minutes. I'm going to go slower so I can describe stuff to you as we go. But really, this should be super fast now. So I just clicked on the second one here that says 8th notes as well. Pull up my Quantize menu, hit apply, and there we go. Now for this one here, this one's a bit different because this one is not regular 8th notes. Remember, I said this one is triplets. So we're going to go in here and we're going to use the tuplet here. If I zoom in, you can see tuplet right there. And now I'm going to hit apply because it's 8th note triplets. So we're good there. We don't have to change the 8th note. Hit apply there. Boom. See, that moved everything around. Awesome. Let's zoom in. It didn't move this first kick drum here though, so we're gonna have to deal with that, but we'll come back and deal with that, or the tom drum rather. We'll come back and deal with that in a second. All this other stuff did move around. Now let's go over to the second one here. I'm not gonna go ahead and apply it to this one because there were another part of triplets in here. What I'm gonna do is I'm not gonna cut this 8th note right here like I did before. I'm gonna just cut where it says triplets. Use my tab to transient there. Now on this one, I'm gonna, here, let's just apply the triplet to this one here because we've already got triplet selected. Boom. This one here is triplet turned off. Boom. And then this one over here is triplet, regular 8th notes again. Boom. And we're done. That's it. That's all you got to do. So much easier than doing by hand, right, Austin? I don't know who else has done it already, who else has turned it in since I checked this morning at like 8 o'clock. But that's it. We're good. Right? And even move that one over. That's awesome. So I did the right thing by tab to transient over there. Okay, so we can see here a couple things. First of all, this one's a little bit wonky here. It's a little bit off. And this one here's got a gap in it. So let's get rid of that gap. What I'm going to do to get rid of the gap is, first of all, we are going to go in here. We're going to change these. Now I'm going to go look at these, and we're going to change them into analysis mode. Right? Right, Austin? Yeah. But it's not all for nothing, I promise you. It's good to actually do things the hard way because the struggle is good. Put some hair on your chest, boy. You know. Anyway, all right. So we're gonna pull this back. Let me turn my to slip mode to turn my grid off. I'm gonna pull this back like this, and you can see in here we've got it put a warp marker here. So I'm gonna get rid of this warp marker right here by double clicking, and I'm gonna put a warp marker right here by double clicking on the warp marker, and I'm gonna drag this on. Whoop. Make sure I've deselected everything. I'm gonna drag it over like that. Boom. So now we're good. Now it's on the downbeat here, and oh yeah, Jonathan, you've probably done this as well, right? Yeah. I'm sure it's 100% easier. Sure. Yep. Okay, so we're gonna go back over to our waveform, and this right here, I'm just gonna put a crossfade on this because it should sound fine with just a crossfade on it. Cool. So we got that. I'm gonna scroll back over here to this one. I'm gonna do basically the same thing. I'm just gonna pull this back this way. Go back and look at our analysis. Okay, so in here, yeah, that's all looking good. I'm gonna go and look at the warp. Okay, it put a warp marker right here in the beginning. So I'm gonna get rid of this warp marker here. I'm gonna double click to put a warp marker there. And I'm just gonna pull it this way. Boop, just a little bit, because it doesn't need much. And then I'm gonna put these back into waveform mode, and I'm just gonna crossfade right here. Now, remember what I said yesterday. I have done this a million times. I've probably done this 100 million times. I've done Elastic Audio stuff so much. I started using Elastic Audio and Warp and stuff like that back in 2000 when I started using Ableton Live, 2000 or 2001, something like that. So I've been using this stuff for 20 years. 20 years, almost on a daily basis. So I've done a lot of warping in my life. So don't feel bad if it doesn't feel this easy to you. If you're still struggling and you're grabbing the wrong thing and you're doing this and you're hitting the wrong button and it's like frustrating, trust me, please. I have been there. I have been where it's super frustrating. All right, but not anymore. I outgrew that part, right? Yeah, hopefully. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna just make sure this looks good over here as well. So I'm just gonna go in here, zoom in, and we're gonna take a look. See how that's a little bit off there? We're gonna take a look at that as well. I'm going to grab this and drag it over like this. So we have a little bit of overlap here. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I just want some space to work with here when I move this around. I don't think I'm going to move this around, but let's just take a look, put on the warp here. Oh, yeah, okay. So I am going to move that around. I'm going to double click this to get rid of those because they were kind of in the wrong place. And put these here, good. And I'm going to just move it backward just a teeny tiny tad. Boop, just a little bit. And I'm going to crossfade this right here. Cool. All right, let's go over to the end of this. Take a look at what's going on up in here. That does not look okay. So we're going to go ahead and the waveform, we're going to pull this back a little bit, like not like that, like this. And it doesn't need to be that much. I pulled it back a little bit too far, so I'm going to push it back this way a little bit. You see how this one's over the line? Okay, so it did not do the quantizing really correctly here, or it did. It just it's not perfect. So that looks good there. The analysis is in the right place, but yeah, see, it put a warp marker right here on the downbeat. I don't want that. What I want to do is I want to put the warp marker right here. There we go. Now, one of the things you got to keep in mind with all this is if the whole thing is selected and I try to grab a warp marker, see how it just moves everything? Here, let me zoom out. Undo that and zoom out here. I don't want to move everything. Like, that's fine sometimes, but not today. I want to actually just move that first one. So I'm just going to deselect the clip by clicking with my select tool. See how it's all selected now? And I click with my select tool, it deselects the clip. And I'm just going to grab this first one and drag it on back there. And we should be good. I'm just going to pull this back a little bit, and then we're going to do a little crossfade on these so there's no pops or clicks. Sweet. Go over here to this one. Let's zoom in. I said zoom in there. There we go. It looks like it might be okay. Let's just move this. Oh, look at that. Oh wait, that was okay. Yeah, no. I mean, the toms and the kick are off a little bit from each other. I'm not going to fix that though. I encourage you not to fix that because that's the overheads. And even though it looks like you might want to fix it, don't, because you're going to mess up your phasing. So I'm just going to pull this aside like this. I'm going to do a little crossfade here like that. There we go. Cool. So let's give this all a listen now. I'm going to put it back into waveform mode because I don't want to look at all those warps. And we're just going to start right here. That sounds good to me. Go over here. Awesome. What you would be listening for is any kind of pops and clicks in here. Any kind of thing where it sounds weird. Just any kind of like weird things, like type of stuff. It's a bit hard to describe. Let me see if I can force it to sound weird for you. Here, let's get rid of all these ones here. And let's see. What if I had like a little gap right here and this was like this? Let's just hear what that sounds like. Let's see if we can hear that. Yeah. Can you hear that? Here, let me turn off the metronome. Hear that? The sound just stopped right there. It was just like nothing in nature sounds like that. Even if you choke a cymbal, like I remember, I forget who it was. I think it was Randall who plays drums. And you're playing drums, right? And you grab it with your hand to choke it like this. It's still, you hear the reverb of the room. You still hear like the ring of the other drums. Nothing sounds like this. Right? You hear that? Like if I cut this end here, I go back like this. Oh, wait, here. If I grab this and I cut it, check this out. Like, listen to this sound. It's gonna sound super weird. Right? Listen to that. It's like, huh? Right? Here, even with a little fade. Right? Nothing sounds like that. I personally think that's a really cool sound, and I do that in my production sometimes, especially when I want a really sharp build. I'll cut everything, including all the reverbs and everything, using automation. But it doesn't sound natural. That's okay, because if I'm making dance music, y'all, it doesn't have to sound natural. So whatever. But for something like this, we do want it to sound natural. This is like, natural sounding drums. Awesome. So that is that. Everything sounds pretty good. Let's just go in here. There's a couple things in the beginning. Let's just listen here from the beginning and just make sure that everything sounds pretty good here. I feel like there's a couple little things. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here to my warp. We're going to zoom in on these bad boys and just take a look at this. See, little things like this will sound kind of weird because the warp is like this kick drum. It might sound a little bit strange. You can see that it was paying attention to the hi-hat. So this other stuff. So let me go ahead and get rid of that one. There we go. And move those over. And yeah, that's pretty good. You can see though the kick drum is off from these. And whenever I have something that's that far off, I usually kind of just get rid of it. We probably don't need the, you can see this looks like it's fine rhythmically wise, so we don't need to mess with that. So any kind of time I see like a double line here with this stuff. Yeah, see there's like some double lines in here. I'm just going to get rid of these. There we go. I don't need them. Anything that's like a big double line. Like see there's one right here. That one, well, that one maybe we needed. Because that kick drum was pretty far off. Let's see, anything else here? Let's see, what do you look like? That's okay. That one's pretty close. Yeah, no, I'm going to keep it in there. I'm going to keep that one in there. Let's see. What's going on here? This one, let's see what it sounds like without the, let's see what it looks like. Oh, that's really far off. So we're going to put that back. And I'm just hitting Command Z to put it back. And I'm just going through and looking at things and seeing them. We're going to go through and listen to these and see what they sound like here in just a second. What do you sound like? Yeah, you look good if I move it or if I take that off. What about you? You look bad. Everything else, let's see, what do you look like? Yeah, that's okay. That's not too far off. Yeah, I think these all, here, let's check this one out here. So what I'm really looking at, if you're not noticing, is you see this like double, see there's like the transient marker is here, but the warp marker is here. I'm just seeing what happens if I delete this warp marker by double clicking it. If that moves around any better, it doesn't. So I'm just gonna go ahead and leave that how it was. That's really what I'm doing here with this. And I'm going through really with a fine-tooth comb. I'm like, this is like super detail-oriented here.
Oh, so cute.
Oh. Super detail-oriented, maybe too much, but you know, I mean, we're gonna listen to it here in a second and see how that one moved a lot. Check this out. This one here, it's like pretty far after. So if I double-click this, it just went away, and now the kick drum lines up better with everything. The hi-hat is off, and these ones are off a little bit. I don't want to mess with them though because of the whole phasing thing, and I'm not really sure why they're like that. I actually have an idea of why everything's like that, but yeah, well, okay. It just looks like things are off a little bit. All right, so let's go ahead and listen to this first part here. Put the metronome on. Hear that? There's like a little bit of a weirdness right there. Let's listen to that. Hear that? There's like a little shh at the end. Here. That was at bar 6 that happened. Right here. Let's... Wait, not there. Right here. Here. Right here. Yeah. So I'm going to take this, double click, click once, sorry, not double click, and just move it over. My follow is on. Turn off. I don't want follow. No scrolling. There we go. I want to keep looking at where I am, and I want to hear. Okay. Yeah. So in order to fix that weird sound, let's go here to our... Where is it happening most? It's probably down here. This is actually an elastic audio thing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this rhythmic thing here, and I'm going to turn the decay rate down a little bit for the room and the overheads, and see what happens here, and see if this fixes stuff. Yeah, much better. You hear how turning that decay rate down just a little bit fixed that sound a little bit more? So this is like super, super nitty gritty stuff. This is not beginner stuff. Pups, you're interrupting my class, okay? A little bit of respect here. Oh yeah, she's like, F you, buddy. So you can see how this is like little tiny things. If I had a bunch of music in here, you probably wouldn't even hear this. But again, if we're gonna do it, let's do it right, shall we? Okay, so turning that decay rate down really helps things a lot. So what I just did, I just clicked on the Elastic Audio plugin here, on the name of it, and it pulls up this thing here, and it's got my decay rate inside of here. And this is only for rhythmic that's going to pull up like that. They all have different things. There we go, cool. So listen to that one more time. Sounds much better. It's not perfect, but it's good enough. All right, I'm not gonna go through this anymore because I want to get moving on to the stuff for today, but that's just a nice little review for you and shows you a little bit of like a different way to do the Sharp Hand Joe exercise. Cool. All right.